So those of you who've been on the channel for a while have watched me go to different war zones, different places, and shot a lot of different weapons. Okay, so you guys all have the same question in mind. I get this in every video. What is my favorite weapon of all time? And I'm gonna make it nice and easy for you guys. It's the PKM. Hands down. Video done. Not really. But it does get the CivDiv seal of approval for being the best weapon ever freaking made. And I'm gonna explain why. Alright, so the first thing you gotta look at is what is its counterpart? What are the competitors putting on the table? Well, it's the 240. The M240 is pretty much the twin of the PKM. Not really. I mean, it's very, very different. The 240 is trying to do the same job as the PKM. And it does it very well, but at over 2 times the weight of the PKM, which is a big deal. The PKM you can carry around on patrols, you can take it wherever you want, but the 240 you're gonna be hard pressed to go and find any machine gunner, freaking fire moving with that thing like I am here. The PKM is great. The second thing is the PKM is just so maneuverable. You can use it as a squad automatic weapon, just like a SAW, the M249 SAW, which is a 5.56 light machine gun. We got to talk about the bullet too. All right, so the bullet is battle tested. It's proven on the battlefield for over a century now. Okay, pretty much every weapon on the face of the planet that was made before 1960 was using this cartridge, the 7.62x54. All right, now the NATO cartridge, or at least the American one, is 7.62x51. Okay, so it's a very similar idea. The ballistics are pretty much identical. The PKM range and the M240 range are literally the same. 800 meters area target, you're going to be effective. 500 meters point target. It's the same cartridge. But the thing is, if you're in a militia, if you're in any military around the world that is not the US, where you can just, make whatever you want. You can make freaking trillion-dollar jets if you want. But if you're actually needing to go and loot ammo off the battlefield, if you're actually trying to go and take over trench systems and be able to use that ammunition because you're not a hugely superior army, max a machine gun. Literally everything uses the 7.62x54, but nothing uses the 7.62x51. So that's the second thing. The third thing, the simplicity. All right, from what I remember, it's about 7 or 8 parts that you need to take out. That's including the bullet assembly to go and completely strip this thing and be able to clean it to an effective manner. It's a super simple weapon system. You can change the barrel really, really easily. All you have to do is just put up the dust cover, click this one thing, and you got a little carrying handle for the barrel, which also militias, even my poor ass militia in YBS was able to have an extra barrel for the PKM. And I'm sure you would not be able to get extra barrels for some other rifles, but the PKM you can. And if you have an extra barrel on it, you can be firing that thing day through night. It's fabulous. When it comes to when I was in the Marine Corps, I was never a machine gunner. I actually never even, barely even touched the 240. We learned how to use it on a tripod. I do have machine gunners that I was with in all 3 of these war zones that I've been in, and they all say the same. The PKM is a fabulous weapon, and even some machine gunners that I've met during my days say that this is the superior one. The PKM is better. Let's talk about the more simple stuff, the recoil. Okay, the recoil is what you would expect. I mean, when you're bipoded, it's gonna be great. When you're not bipoded, okay. I mean, it's gonna be kicking around like a mule. PKMs that I was using out in Syria and YBS and even Ukraine, these are not great condition PKMs, but they all work. Obviously, malfunctions happen, and to be honest, the PKM has had some of the wonkiest freaking malfunctions I've ever seen. But I think it's mostly because of the ammunition we're using. Because, again, these were like battlefield pickups that were out in the elements for 20 years, you know what I mean? So the PKM, I don't think is at fault for most of its problems. The gas tube settings on it are fabulous. It's very Russian-esque. I mean, you can adjust the gas tube with a bullet casing or an actual bullet, just the end of it. You can use it to go and crank it up and down, which would increase the fire rate and just get past that carbon and all that gunk in your weapon, whether it's dirty or whether it's just been used for a long time. So the PKM is meant for long, sustained fire. When you can hip fire it, you can even bring it up to the ready, and you're gonna find it pretty hard to go and find somebody, bring a 240 up to his shoulder and fire it. Okay, you might be able to find some badass Marine who's like 6'5", jacked as hell. Okay, but the PKM is just, even a scrawny ass rifleman like me can carry that thing, shoulder it, and clear rooms with it if I wanted to. It's great. You can work out with it too. Wow. Look at that. There's just so much you could do with it. Oh, and if we look at the next generation rifle that the Army is using now, it's a 6.8 cartridge, and it's able to effectively hit targets at 800 meters, which just so happens to be the same range as the PKM. Why is that? Back in Afghanistan, we learned our lesson because the Taliban was using PKMs up in the mountainside and effectively engaging American soldiers that were hiking through the mountains at 800 meters. and the American soldiers couldn't do much because nobody's going to be hiking around with a 240, or if they are, they're going to be tired as hell, and they're, you know, it's just so heavy. But the PKM, you're able to maneuver up into these hillsides and engage these American targets. And the Americans only had M16s. What are they going to do? It's 500 meters effective. I mean, you're not going to be able to go and hit those targets 800 meters away, but the PKM will. And that's the whole reason that we see the 6.8 cartridge in the next generation rifle. And the PKM changed a lot of what we're seeing now today. Like, finally, the PKM has been used for many, many decades. And, you know, now we're just finally catching up to its, you know, its superiority and just being a handheld, easily cleaned, easily operated piece of amazingness. I mean, it's there's not much more to say than that, to be honest. Yeah, guys, I hope you learned something in this video. I hope you see my point of view. Obviously, the PKM's not perfect. You know, there's gonna be some problems. Extractors break. You know, stuff happens. But from my experience, even with the beat up old PKMs that I had, it was never the fault of the PKM. It was always the fault of the bullets or something. Anyway, if you guys want to see a different video, like me comparing or telling you my favorite rifle or something, and explaining that, just let me know. I love these kind of videos, just like you do. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.
It's in! Into it.